Hello, everyone. How are you doing? This is Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. We have a very special guest here. We have Stacye D.Harris. She's a board member on Boeing. She is also a former United Airlines pilot and former Inspector General of the U.S. Air Force. Stacye, thank you so much for coming in, and I appreciate your service. But you know something, Stacye, I've got something to ask. We sent you, and here it is. Here's the return card request with Stacye's name on it, of course, Stacye Harris. And I never heard anything from you, Stacye. What happened here? This video today, let me bring you one more time, a couple more times out. This video today is about QA expert. QA expert and Boeing shareholder Daryl Guberman educates Boeing board member Stacye D.Harris. And we're going to educate you, Stacye. That's it. You didn't respond? Well, now you're going to get educated. See what you're involved with. Maybe you don't care. Okay, this is the 42-page document that we sent, the exact one. It's got, the funniest thing is they have 11 board members, and this has 11 letters of recommendation, plus my CV and all the rest of my resume. We sent it into them back in July, and we have heard crickets. In April, I was there at the whistleblower, Sam Salapar. As you can see, he's looking at me, and I'm holding up two pieces of paper corroborating what Sam was saying about design. Those two pieces of paper I have installed here, and I will show them to you as we progress. But it basically gave Boeing an out. They basically gave up, for 22 years, they gave up special process auditing, on-site audits, and also component on-site audits to two pieces of paper. We were also there June 18th to see David Calhoun. And we're not going to talk about too much of that. On 2013, we gave a speech at the American Society for Quality where Mr. David Levy, a Region 3 director, was there. He was sent there to destroy me. Nobody would destroy me. You know, it is not the size of the dog in the fight that counts. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Dwight D. Eisenhower said that. So basically, he was sent there. He couldn't do it, and he said, Mr. Guberman, ANAB accepts you. ANAB, there's no problem with what you're doing as far as a quality registrar. ANAB accepts you. Well, he didn't push that shit up the line. By the way, shit is I apologize, Stacye. I'm sure you heard worse in the service. But anyway, so he approved us and all this. We didn't need that. 50% ASQ owned ANAB. American Society of Quality owned ANAB 50%, and ANSI, American National Standard Institute, owned ANAB 50%. You see in the middle here, Randy Doty at the time was the vice president of ANAB, chairman of the IF, and principal of the IF tax report. He handed over leadership to this communist Chinese national Zhao Jinwu, 2015. In 2016, mind you, Randy invited us to join either the IF or ANAB or both. And how could I, Stacye, one more time, let me show you this. How could I, Stacye, as a proud American, go join IAF or ANAB when we had Zhao Jinwu, the Chinese Communist national, who was handed over leadership of the IF, and ANSI ANAB are the founders of that? How could I do that? I refused, of course. Wouldn't you? Oh, I'm just asking. Who knows? She's still smiling. Anyway, ANSI is a private, not-for-profit, non-governmental corporation, has both federal agencies and corporations on board. They've been around for almost 100 years. ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018, and between 2015 and 21, they were sitting on the IAF because they were founders of the International Accreditation Forum, which is a private, well, not private, but it's actually a association of accreditation bodies, both national and international, along with their sister organization, ILAC, the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation, out of Australia. They're also underwriters for IAF and ILAC, which means ANSI and ANAB takes all systematic and product failure. This shows you, without a shadow of a doubt, my dear, may I say that? I apologize. That might not be proper. I apologize. Okay. Stacye, this shows that ANSI founded, along with ANAB, the IAF. And here it is. Now we get to Boeing. Boeing sits on ANSI ANAB's board as a member. They force ANSI ANAB down their suppliers and subcontractors' throats. For 22 years, Boeing gave up auditing, on-site auditing for their suppliers and subcontractors to two pieces of paper. One was for their special processes, heat treat, welding, etc., from the Performance Review Institute. Send in your certificates, send your parts, and Boeing doesn't have to send any on-site inspectors. The other one, that was in April of 2002. In July of 2002, you had the factor that they came out with a supplier bulletin, which they said if you are AS 9100 certified, as long as you're ANSI ANAB accredited, just send in your certs, send in your parts, and we don't have to come visit you on-site audit for 22 years. In 2009, Boeing was made an FAA regulator. That means they are part of the FAA. They are the FAA. They self-certify. They do not have to tell any organization, whether it's the FAA or the pilots or airplane companies, they did not have to tell anyone, even the airlines, about putting the MCAS system on our new aircraft designs. They are a self-certification body, which means the FAA went into Boeing and certified and basically made some of their employees inspectors for the FAA. And you know what happens then? Since they're inspectors, you didn't have to tell them anything about, and they're getting their money from Boeing. So they're Boeing employees as FAA. Is there something wrong with that? And then in 2019, after the Indonesian Air and Ethiopian airline crashed, the FAA came out and said, we would never we would never allow a company to police themselves or self-certify. That's a lie. This is from the supplier portal. It states the third-party register must be ANSI, ANAB, or international equivalent. It could be China, Iran, Pakistan, and they are equivalent to ANSI, ANAB. This was on their supplier, this was on ANSI ANAB's website. We took a snapshot of it because we knew as soon as we started to expose it, they were going to take it down, especially with Boeing's poor quality and their reputation going down the shitter. A management system accreditation committee can grant, suspend, and withdraw certification. As you can see down on the bottom here, you can see Boeing is here. They can grant, suspend, and withdraw certification. You find anything wrong with that, Stacye? In 2017, when they were still an FAA regulator or the FAA, they were caught fudging documentation on the steel that went into the aircraft. How do you like them apples, along with their supplier, Kobe Steel? Sitting on ANSI ANAB's board, here are some of the federal agencies that are much involved with Boeing doing this impropriety with quality issues is DOJ, DHS, FAA, and Boeing. And the DHS most recently said that Boeing lied to the FAA about the MCAS system. Well, as I've showed you, they didn't have to tell the FAA anything because they are the FAA. They were the FAA. Are you kidding me? You have 5 different federal agencies that sit on ANSI ANAB's board as members, but they're also customers, like the Department of Commerce, Homeland Security, Department of Justice, and the FDA. Now we come up to Robert Kelly Oberg, who was the CEO during the design, manufacture, and implementation of the MCAS system. In 2018-19, Ethiopian Air and Indonesian Air crashed, killing 348 people. Thus, Mr. Oberg, he didn't design it, didn't develop it, but he was the head of it. And he never got his comeuppance with the DHS getting inquisitioned as to what happened with the MCAS system. Well, remember this, Boeing didn't have to tell anybody about the MCAS system, so could they have been in bed together? Of course they could be in bed together. 2019 to 20, you had Dennis Muhlenberg, the CEO of Boeing, getting inquisitioned, and he had to step down with a $60 million death benefit, I call it. While Mr. Oberg left and retired from Collins, I think, because the heat was getting hot in the kitchen. They were probably going to come for him, and he stepped down as the leader of the company, Rockwell Collins, that made the MCAS system, designed it, manufactured it, and implemented it. Stacye, I hope that educated you a little bit. You better wear some hip boots because that crap is getting deeper. And let me just say this, Mr. David Foster Wallace said this. He said that the truth will set you free, but not until it is finished with you. And Stacye, as a former Air Force pilot and pilot, let me just say this. You never answered it. None of you guys and gals did on the board. Shame on you. Just remember this. The truth will set you free, but not until Daryl Guberman is finished with you. And as Confucius said, it is not the droplet of water that wears away the mighty stone, but it is its persistence. 203-556-1493. Thank you.